morning, Commissioners, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Cumberland County Commissioners Workshop Meeting on August 5, 2021. We're going to start the meeting by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, so please join me by saying, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I call the meeting to order at 9 a.m. and I'll open up the floor to public comment. Hearing none and seeing none, we'll move on then to agenda item number 3, and I will ask Tammy Hershey to go through the contracts and grants.
All right, thank you, Stacy. Agenda item number 3 is contracts and grants. Item 3, numeral 1, A through D, consists of existing contracts, contract extensions, or addenda with no additional cost or increase to the county for aging and community services, children and youth, drug and alcohol, and MHIDD. Commissioners, do you have any questions, comments, or concern regarding any of these agreements?
Oh, thank you.
Okay, hearing none. We will move on to agenda item 3, numeral 2, A through H, which consists of new contracts, vendors, services, grants, and contracts with increases or decreases to the county. I will begin by calling on Kim Bittner to discuss the contracts for aging and community services. Kim?
Good morning. The first 4, Myers, Med Staffers, Shaddai, and America's Home Health Services provide home support and personal care to eligible seniors. The nutrition group provides meals for homebound and senior citizen participants, and Menno Haven provides adult daycare.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for Kim?
No.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Next, I will call on Jamie River to discuss the contracts for children and youth. Jamie?
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. The first contract on the list today is the Bear Foundation. They are requesting increases from 5% to 18.4% to all of their levels of care. Their rates are still well below the maximum allowable and are comparable to other like providers. They provide foster care services and is one of our providers that approves emergency caregivers. And they also assist with transportation that's associated with ESSA. Preventative Aftercare provides family preservation services, which are intensive services in the home, as well as prison visitation programs where they provide parenting skills to inmates that are involved with our agency and supervise visits with their child. They're requesting a 2% increase to each of those programs, increasing family preservation from $50.90 a day to $51.92, and the prison visitation from $50 a day to $51 a day. Next one is Cornell Abraxas Group, LLC. They provide both in-home and out-of-home services. They're requesting 3% increases to all of their out-of-home programs, which include detention, shelter, group home, and treatment services, with the exception of one level of detention at a specific location, which is increasing 5%. They are focusing on their employee recruitment and retention. They're implementing evidence-based programming, which is increasing their training and certification requirements, and are stepping through the process to become a specialized setting for the Families First Act. The next one is Drug and Alcohol Rehabilitation Services. They provide DNA treatment and independent living services to males ages 14 to 18 so that they can overcome their addictions and become a successful part of society. They're requesting increases to these programs for the 21-22 fiscal year. Their supervised independent living program is increasing 23.07%, and their DNA treatment program is increasing 5.9%. Their DNA treatment program is typically funded through medical assistance, however, and is not usually a cost to the county. They also do not typically request increases and have only requested increases twice within the last 10 years. They're indicating increases to their healthcare, additional credentialing required for staff, increases in salaries to retain qualified staff and remain competitive, and overall operating expenses. The next one's Adelphi Village. They provide in-home and out-of-home services as well, including foster care, sheltered, group, and residential. They're requesting increases that range from 0.25% to 13.73%. They are adding an additional therapist and counselor to their team. They're adding a mental health group home for sexual offenders. They've increased their security and monitoring systems in their residential units to ensure compliance and to review critical incidents. They're also providing additional and enhanced training for clinical staff, as well as additional training to be coaches for motivational interviewing. They've focused on training their foster parents in trauma, and they've also added a team-focused level of foster care. Next one is George Junior Republic. They provide placement service for older youth. They completed the process and become credentialed through Families First in specialized settings, which has included increasing their staff, enhancing their programs, and additional significant training for their staff. They've obtained over 30 licenses and are currently the largest provider of specialized settings in Pennsylvania. They are requesting some significant increases, and we were able to negotiate with them and give them half of their increases for this fiscal year. Their increases are ranging from 6.01% to 25.25%. The next one is Jewish Family Services of Greater Harrisburg. They provide 4 different levels of foster care. They're also requesting some significant increases ranging from 24.53% to 31.9%. However, these increases are bringing them up to the state maximum allowable, and they're still fairly low based on other providers that provide the same services. They are giving an increase to their foster parents for the year, which is definitely a benefit for our foster parents since we're having a hard time finding them usually. The last one is the United Methodist Home for Children, a Board of Child Care program. This is a little bit different. This is a contract for Family First Prevention and Services Act, and it's to support the implementation of Family First. Congress passed the Family First Transition Act. Cumberland County was allocated funds to support this transition. The funds are 100% federal financial participation with no state or county match required. The costs are incurred first, and then we will submit to the state for reimbursement through Act 148. We're providing this opportunity to assist the United Methodist Home and Board of Child Care program as they become credentialed as a specialized setting. The total allocation for Cumberland County was $400,000, and therefore costs incurred between July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2023. And we are expecting to allocate $99,029 to the United Methodist Home, but there is more available should they need. Any questions?
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
I will call on Rebecca Finke to discuss the grant award for criminal justice services. Rebecca?
Good morning. PCCD did award us the intermediate punishment grant in the amount that we submitted in with no changes. The award was $315,000, which was the same as it was the previous year. And I'm just asking that you accept the award, please.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Rebecca. Next, I will call on Eric Radovich to discuss the forensic lab contract. Eric.
Good morning, Commissioners, on this beautiful day. Today's contract is for Thermal Electron North America, LLC. It is for $28,557, and it is a support contract for our laboratory instruments.
Any questions for Eric, Commissioners? All right, thank you, Eric. Next, I will call on Ryan Simon with Drug and Alcohol to discuss the 2 contracts. Ryan?
Good morning, Commissioners. As I had said at my previous time presenting contracts, the state had made significant changes to how drug and alcohol providers determine levels of care. And so some of our inpatient providers have had to make major changes to their programming. And these two are two of the providers who have had to make changes. Fire Tree at their Conewago location, they're asking for a 19% increase on their withdrawal management. At the Conewago Pottsville rehab, they're asking for a 23% increase. At Conewago Place, they're asking for a 25% increase. And for Conewago Snyder, they're asking for an 8% increase. Teen Challenge, they had to make some significant changes to their withdrawal management, so they're asking for a 10% increase. Any questions?
Okay, hearing none. Ryan, thank you. Next, I will call on Derek Goodhart to discuss the contract for human resources. Derek.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is a request for a one-year extension to our Castle Branch contract. Castle Branch provides services for our new hires, drug tests, background checks, and employment verifications.
Any questions, Commissioners?
What's the total cost, Derek? I'm confused reading that. Is it $138,000 or an additional 60?
Commissioner, that is not an additional charge. All of our fees are remaining the same. We're just requesting an increase to just add additional money towards this budget line or this existing contract. There are no changes to the fees for drug tests or background checks for our new hires.
That explains it. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
Next, I will call on Kirk Stoner to discuss the contracts for the liquid fuels finance.
Good morning, Commissioners. We have two contracts this morning. We have, they're actually related. One is a reimbursement agreement with PennDOT, time extension requested December 31st. The other is extension request for HRG for the same project, the Kunkel Bridge Replacement Project, through December 31st. This is just giving us time to clean up some of the final project administrative items, and we still working with some property owners on some final issues out there before we close out the project.
Commissioners, any questions for Kirk? Hearing none, thank you, Kirk. I will now call on Annie Strite to discuss the contracts for early intervention, mental health, and intellectual and development disabilities. Morning, Annie.
Good morning. I apologize. Got a phone call just at that time. So we have a variety of contracts to talk about this morning. Some are amendments from fiscal year 2021, and then the remaining are contracts for 21-22. The first is for early intervention for Jill Bricker, and that's for special instruction services, and it's an increase of $1,000. That's an amendment. The next is for aspirations, and it's an increase of $200. I apologize. Whatever is happening must be an emergency because they've now called me 3 times. Again, I apologize.
Annie, would you like us to return to, we can certainly move to the next agenda item and come back to you if you believe it's an emergency.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Let me see
yes.
what's going
on. Okay. All of the contracts and grants?
Last one.
Okay. All right. Well, Commissioners, we'll move on then to agenda item number 4. And again, we'll return to agenda item 3, Roman numeral 2, letter H, once Annie is available. Okay, so Claudia is going to be discussing some donations that have been received for the LEPC Sarah Summit. Claudia.
All right, good morning, everyone. Public Safety is asking for the Board of Commissioners to approve the receipt of sponsorship money that is going to be used to offset the expenses for hosting the annual LEPC Sarah Summit. That'll be held in October. As you know, that's the event for area businesses, first responders, and elected officials to be able to network with their partners while learning how to be better prepared for an emergency. We're appreciative of these agencies in supporting the mission of the LEPC and Today, we have 3 of them that include Vitro Architectural Glass Company for $500, WorkNet Occupational Medicine for $250, and PA Capital Chapter AHMP for $250 as well. So if you're accepting, we can make that donation and put that toward the LAPC Sarah Summit.
Any questions, commissioners? Oh, that's great. All right, thank you, Claudia.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. We'll move on then to agenda item number 5, which is a discussion of a capital project request from Domestic Relations. And I'll turn the floor over to Jennifer Gibney and Charles Carruthers to explain the request.
Good morning. We're looking to replace our 2011 Chevy van with a 2021 Ford Police Interceptor all-wheel drive utility vehicle. The total cost of this project is just over $43,000. That cost does include an extended warranty as well as the transfer of our radio from the Chevy van to the new vehicle. In addition to that, the cost is 66% reimbursable through the federal government. And thank you.
Any questions for Jennifer?
No.
Yeah, it's actually been the capital project meeting. They weren't available at the last workshop, so it's been quite some time since we had discussed it. Thanks for the summary. Sure.
Will it, just out of curiosity, will it appear with the police interceptor on the side?
It will not.
Thanks again.
Thanks. Sure.
Any other questions, commissioners? I feel like maybe I missed that part. It's getting ready to move on. Thank you. We'll return then to Annie Strite, see if she's available for us. Thanks for coming in, Christine, by the way. Okay, it looks like she's still handling that issue, so we'll move on then to agenda item number 6, which is Commissioner's Liaison Reports, and I'll start by calling on Commissioner Eichelberger.
The only thing I have is I did receive a request for a number of articles from the trade press in the recycling field. Justin was very good about sending me current information, and I'm going to end up sharing it with everybody, so we're a little more knowledgeable on what's happening in the recycling world. There are going to be some changes coming to us for consideration on how we implement and execute our recycling program. So obviously it's helpful to know where the need is and what's going on in the world, so we can make an informed decision. So I'll be sharing those with you today. That's everything I have.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Fauci.
One of the biggest things I have is last Friday, I went to a PennDOT meeting. Kirk Stoner was there, as well as many stakeholders in the area, people from Perry County, Dauphin County, York County, Cumberland County, and we talked about the I-83 bridge and the potential tolling of that bridge, the potential replacement of that bridge, and diversion of traffic based on tolling, based on bridge replacement. And, you know, what were our thoughts about what happens when traffic is diverted? And it really was a very robust conversation. We were split into 6 different tables. At my table, there was a state police officer, someone from York County, someone from Perry County, our own public safety people were there. That is awesome. A Harrisburg City police officer, a bridge engineer, which was great also. But we really, I think, gave PennDOT some different things to think about. Every table had something different to add to the conversation. So they're putting all that information together, and then there will be public hearings on that material. So watch for that in the next couple of months. That was a really good thing. I'm so glad that our local businesses are involved in our LAPC and are providing funds for the Sarah Summit. Once again, that LAPC is such a huge part of keeping Cumberland County safe. I would point out Mr. Hoop's article in the Sentinel about MHIDD and our grant and our flat funding that came out this morning, and I thought it was excellent, and I thought that our Cumberland County department heads were quoted so nicely. Annie, I thought you were quoted very nicely. Jack Carroll, nice quotes there from him. So I thought that was a really fantastic way to get the message out. One of many ways we can be getting that message out. And use the library. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner DiFilippo.
Yes, the Conservation District met July 27th. We have so far a record number of acres that have been tested for nitrogen this year, and our interns have received 3 credits for their 160-hour internship. The district was audited by our controller's office. We all received a copy of that report. It was a clean audit. And that audit is also forwarded to the State Conservation Commission. And speaking of the State Conservation Commission, they are providing our conservation district another $100,000 above what we've received already for the implementation of agricultural best management practices. So we now have $1.1 million to spend over the next 2 years. The commission also conducted a program evaluation of our county conservation district's nutrient management program. The results of that evaluation will be available later this year. And the PA Department of Agriculture is offering $5,000 for conservation districts that want to participate in the spotted lanternfly program. Our board decided not to participate this year due to workload for other things, but we are discussing with our vector control office to see if they may want to participate in the program next year. If anyone, sees or has any concerns about spotted lanternflies, you are directed to please call the PA Department of Agriculture. And that's all I have, Stacey.
Thank you, Commissioner. Looks like Annie is ready and with us, so we'll return then to letter H. And thank you, Annie, for being flexible, and we appreciate you being back with us.
No, thank you for being flexible. I appreciate the chance to handle that call. I'm just gonna, since I had just started, I'm gonna just jump in from the top since we have quite a number of contracts to go through. And as I mentioned previously, they encompass our entire organization, early intervention, ID, and MH. So the first contract is with Jill Bricker, and it's actually an amendment to a 2021 contract. And they just provides for our early intervention team special instruction for families, and it's an increase of $1,000. The second is last year's contract, an amendment for Aspirations, and they provide psychological evaluations and behavior support for individuals with intellectual disabilities. The third contract is actually for new fiscal year, current fiscal year, and it's for New Visions. New Visions is a mental health provider, and they provide quite an array of services for individuals with mental illness. And so what you see is their entire contract package of $2.7 million. And it's actually an increase of $63,810 for the new fiscal year. And that's because of increases in expenses that they see as an organization, as well as attempting to retain qualified staff. And similarly, the next one, we separated those out because the LTSR contract is a large contract and it's one specific residence. And that contract has gone up by $6,958. And again, for the same reason, attempting to retain and keep qualified staff as well as an increase in benefits. We move on to current fiscal year contracts for early intervention, Health Pro Pediatrics, and they provide occupational therapy and special instruction for families with children birth to 3. And it's a decrease of $2,481. Ahead is a decrease of $4,438, and they provide supported employment for individuals with intellectual disabilities. I'm going to ask that you folks stop me if you have any questions about any of these as we're moving through. Alma Health is doing business as med staffers, and they have a decrease in their contract of $5,608. And that's they provide companion services for individuals with intellectual disabilities. Aspirations is an increase of $500, and they provide behavioral support and psychological evaluations for individuals with intellectual disabilities. Benevolent Heart Assisted Living, they provide companion services, and it's actually a new contract for this fiscal year. And they've requested $13,167. We move on to Bloom Human Services. They provide companion and in-home services for individuals with intellectual disabilities. And it's an increase of $27,674. Their contract is now $30,409. And then Harrisburg Home Health, which is Angels on Call, and they provide in-home and community supports for individuals with intellectual disabilities. And their contract is a decrease of $19,749. Hempfield Behavioral Health. I'm sorry, did somebody have a question? Just heard some noise. Okay.
That might have been me clearing my throat. Sorry.
Sorry, I just heard something. Sorry. Hempfield Behavioral Health, they provide community support for individuals with intellectual disabilities. Their contract is an increase of $9,765. Keon Enterprises provides transportation for individuals with intellectual disabilities, and their contract actually decreased by $1,632. PA Life Sharing provides companion services and in-home community supports for individuals with intellectual disabilities, and their contract decreased by $21,257. Cornerstone Agency, their contract is a decrease of $8,786, and they provide behavioral support for individuals with intellectual disabilities. And the final contract that I have to present is for UCP, United Cerebral Palsy, with a decrease of over $105,000. And they provide community links, in-home and community supports, as well as residential services. And their final contract has decreased to $364,712. Do you folks have any questions for us?
Yeah, I would ask, particularly on the UCP, what is the reason for the decrease?
What's happening is, as providers are having difficulty hiring and retaining staff, they are consolidating homes. And so a lot of those decreases are because of consolidating homes because they can't hire staff, which is impacting our ability to provide residential services for individuals with intellectual disabilities.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Annie.
Mm-hmm.
Now that concludes our contract.
Okay, thank you, Tammy. We'll move on then to agenda item number 7, and I'd like to report that an executive session was held on August 4, 2021 at 9:30 a.m. regarding personnel. Is there any additional business that needs to come before the board today? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you.